Yo, what's up? I'm back. I'm Coco Maestro. We're doing another Coco Thoughts. Uh, Sunday, March 5th. I didn't, to be honest, I really didn't do anything. And when do I ever do anything? Never, ever. I was gonna like try to go to school or something, but kind of inconsistent. I need something to, like hold me to actually doing things instead of doing nothing. But I don't know how to do it. I'm not too motivated, really, to go back to school because I think it's really worth anything, but it's didn't seem that good. But uh I don't know. There was like at least in terms of like days, there was like a really nice warm day. Hopefully it freaking hits like the 70 freaking degree mark at some point. I really want it to get warm again. I'm tired of the bait and switch of a nice like 70, nearly 80-degree day into a freaking 40. It's like really annoying. I want to be able to like open my window and keep it open all day. Besides, whenever the person below me freaking smokes. But other than that, there was the release of Pizza Tower, which I think is like a very good game. Now, it's not to my liking because I'm not a platformer slash like speedrunner. Although you don't really have to speedrun in that game, but I just don't think it's my type of game. But it is like very freaking affordable at $20, and it's like really, I would think like high quality because of the just the music and the stuff that you can do within the game. It's just like a decent amount of like variety you can do. And the story itself, to be honest, I don't really care about, or the entire thing behind like I think the main character is just like Peppino and like the whole pizza tower. I just think it's like a, regardless of that, you could still like enjoy the game. The music is good. That at least like the first like, I don't know what you would call it. The first like escape, I guess. That music like is very good, and I think it will last even when the game eventually like fades into nothing. Well, not really like fade into nothing, but when it's like not as popular. And that's really kind of what matters for games, really. Is will the soundtrack be good enough for people to listen to after your game's like over and done with? Like for Everhood, Deltarune, and all that. And I don't know, sometimes even like racing games or maybe even stuff like Civ. I mean, that's at least for me, it's like kind of what matters for games. Even even League. I mean, people, at least whenever I watch like a certain League stream, they'll constantly play Pantheon. I think it's like login screen music. Yeah, what other games are there? TF2 is like pretty memorable. There's a lot of stuff. So I don't know. I think a game soundtrack is pretty freaking important, especially I can't remember. I already forget. if I mentioned Risk of Rain, Risk of Rain has like a very good soundtrack. The Rain formerly known as Purple is like very memorable. And to be honest, it's like probably the only track that I know by name because I listen to it personally. And it's like related to Prince. Just very good stuff. And yeah, and going back to Pizza Tower, it being like a I think it did the side scroller platformer thing very well, especially with like some of the mechanics that they added, like the bomb or the olive where it makes you kind of flow into a bubble. I can't remember if Mario Party, well, not Mario Party, but Mario has ever done that. I can't really think of it. I feel like it would do it in Sunshine, but I don't think so. I don't think in Mario 64 either. I mean, the bubbles mostly in those games were just to, like get air. Yeah, I don't know. And what else is there? They got like somewhat cute characters or I don't know, what would be the word for it? Well defined characters like Pepino and I don't know what I say because I freaking don't know any of the names. I don't remember them really getting introduced. But basically, there's a dude where you'd have to buy the gates in order to access the other levels with money that you've earned. That dude's pretty memorable. He's kind of like Inspector Gadget with the way that he moves around. Um, who else is there? I think one of the characters rides a mouse through a level. I didn't really get a chance to see it. I don't know. It's really good. I think it's like a really good game for freaking being $20. Yeah. But other than that, another personal thing, freaking driver's licenses. They need to have a renewal process, and I think it has to be like every freaking 5 or 10 years. It is kind of getting annoying. And to be honest, I kind of want the force entry into freaking driver school because it is so annoying. It just the endless freaking people stopping for no reason. It I just don't understand it. Like I understand people are trying to be courteous and stuff, but it kind of like ruins the flow because driving itself, you're like how do you put it? Um, hmm. I would say like maybe like fish in a river. And you're like trying to move, but for whatever reason, like a fish gets scared of something that like might be a predator, like a bear, and then it stops, and it just stops all flow of traffic when it might not even like when nothing might even be there. Just like I don't know, because I swear it's like every time I'm trying to like leave my workplace or just trying to drive home, it's just someone being courteous for no reason, and they don't have to be. Because I don't know, I'm like a little bit chaotic whenever somebody's like in the wrong for driving. but so let's say there's like a 4 lanes of traffic. No, never mind. It's 3 lanes of traffic, 2 turning lanes going to the left, one going straight, and the in the lane that can go straight can also turn to the right. And then you have a double yellow, 2 lanes on the other side of that double yellow for oncoming traffic from the other side, and 1 lane that merges to create a single lane, maybe like a quarter mile down the road. So, with all that and the double yellow, people still turn their left turn signal to cross 3 lanes to just go to a crappy gas station. And it's like I don't understand if maybe a lot of people just like don't fill up their gas tank for whatever reason. But they this keep crossing the double yellow. And it's just crazy because like every time it's just there's no like police around. But I don't think really police even care, to be honest. I can't think of a time that I've ever seen a police officer pull someone over for like speeding or something. Like even on the freaking highway. People on the highway are ruthless. They go way too fast. And I tend to avoid the highway. I'd rather keep it to the streets. Also, another thing too. Apparently, Pennsylvania, they have a timer for the freaking traffic lights, and I really think every place should probably do this. Like, how much revenue are the police getting from pulling over people for traffic stops, or well, not traffic stops, but traffic violations due to like running a red light or speeding? Like, how many times? I need to know that. And then with that information, let's just get like a display up by the lights and just have like a number, or maybe like a little bit of like a countdown. And obviously they can't, it has to be a countdown because if you have just like the same red, yellow, green lights, that would probably throw people off and cause people to run a red light. So we need just like a timer on the side on the pole over by where people would cross the road. And through like an updated booklet for traffic laws, it'll basically show a format. The topmost counter will be the time it takes before somebody can like turn left or go straight. And then the bottom one should be for like the right lane, maybe. Or actually, no, there would have to be separate ones. Because sometimes the people can turn left and people can't go straight or turn right sometimes. But I mean, it's always like if you want to turn right and you're on like the curb lane, it's always just making sure like no cars coming. Then people usually turn anyways on the curb. But I don't know. There just needs to be like some type of format like that. We're like in desperate need of it. We're at the age we have the technology probably. Actually, never mind. We do have the technology. It's in Pennsylvania. Well, let's just get it. Apparently, like certain like electric cars have it. But why does everything have to be locked by how much money you have to spend on a car? Just make it a public thing. It'll help a lot of people. I don't see why not. It'll help me because I freaking have my timing off every time. I swear, certain traffic lights, they have a different like second interval for how long it stays green. And it changes daily. because I had that during the win like December when it was like actually well not no maybe yeah never mind it was late December and the red well the green light only allowed like three cars to go through, so it was only green for maybe a couple seconds, like 30. But then like today, it was green for like almost like 2 minutes, and people could very easily I don't know clear out like the entire lane, and like 9 to 10 cars would be able to go through without getting hit with the red light. Well, not getting hit with the red light, but getting hit with the yellow light. I don't know. And then we can finally build nice trains. I don't know. Yeah, like a nice train system here. Let me see if I can properly switch over to that. Yeah. So here's our what is it, like a flight map. Apparently, I'm assuming this would just be like Delta, and every flight map's different because it depends on the airlines. And also, it's not very specific. I only said USA plane network, but here's just like the first one. Just make sure. Okay. So Atlanta, Detroit, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Salt Lake City are pretty much hotspots for flight, at least within the U.S. I'd assume. And then California, you know, you'd have the if it was international, you'd have Japan and stuff like that being able to fly to Los Angeles usually or Seattle, and New York is probably the only airport in the U.S. that you could probably fly to. No, never mind. It wouldn't be the only one. One of the few that you could fly to the EU with. Because I remember I flew out of Los Angeles to go to Italy, but it wasn't direct. It was like Los Angeles to to Frankfurt to then Italy. But here you have the freaking flight map for the U.S. But it's just like, what if? I mean, we have like a very good flight system, I would say. Just the access, the amount of stops that you can take to fill up the plane or whatever to keep the what would you call it? The hosts, the plane hosts. I don't know. The airliners, whatever. To keep the airliners happy, they have plenty of places to stop. Like, I don't know. Let's say somebody's going to, I don't know, Salt Lake City. To be honest, probably like Los Angeles to maybe like New York, right? So you can't really do one way direct flights too much anymore. I've failed to find any direct flights unless it's like a very short distance. Like you could probably do like San Antonio to like Atlanta, but you can't do Los Angeles to New York. You're gonna have to go Los Angeles to either Minneapolis, St. Paul for a like an hour wait, right? Which is already like a 2 hour flight from here, or 2 hour and 30 minute flight, depending on how long it takes for them to get onto the runway and get into the air, and then all the taxiing. But yeah, you're gonna have to fly Los Angeles, St. Paul, 2.5 hours maybe. Then to New York, it's just like another 2.5 hours. The whole boarding process too. So, like, why not get a train system? Trains, they stop for like a few minutes at the most at like very big stations, and then they move on. Although there have been like a lot of derailment, this would be like an obvious like incentive to fix the rail lines. and to maybe create passenger only freight. Well, not really freight, but passenger only trains. Oh, oh, have 11 on the other monitor. So then we have this, the Trans-American Passenger. I don't really know too much about it because I've never really seen a train anywhere where I live. So the only place I've really ever seen a train is in Los Angeles. But they also have a train network that goes up like the entire coast, which I rode once, and it was alright. There was a food car on the train which had like a bunch of bar stools available. I don't really know what type of food. I was too young to really purchase anything. But like we can easily get a decent trail system to go from Los Angeles to Detroit to New York. I don't know. It would also have to be like it can't be private. I think it would have to be publicly owned. A publicly owned rail system, I think, would be very nice. Yeah, just like high speed rail, just freaking shotgunning, like New York to Chicago, just all these big cities. You can freaking do a South U.S. run of the train. Zoom through all that, or you could do like a mountain run. Oops. You could do a freaking West Coast run or an East Coast run. I'm sure there's probably like some decent places to visit over here somewhere. I don't know. To be honest, I feel like America kind of lacks cool places to visit that have like some sort of uniqueness and doesn't look like copy pasted uh residential areas with like notorious amounts of ugly roads. Cause like I've been to freaking Houston, and when I first visited Houston, it was all right. The the only thing that I can really remember about it though was the nice airport. And as I said, freaking airports are beautiful, kind of. I mean, it just depends on how many what is it, little treadmills are available. Because those little the fast whatever, fast walk past treadmills, whatever, to get through the entire airport is really what matters to me. Like I went to the Detroit airport. I've been to Chicago O'Hare. Uh, Dallas LAX. I've been to the Las Vegas airport once. Actually, no, twice. Probably more than that though. I'm not counting because I have done connecting flights there. Um, but yeah, I mean most of those airports were made really nice. Obviously, with the windows are great just to be able to see the planes. It's like a big part of it. Uh, and yeah, just the treadmills to literally just zoom through the entire thing and explore the airport while your freaking flight is delayed for stupid amounts of time. But yeah, I kind of forget where I was going with this. Oh yeah, but what if instead with all these major places, I'd assume it would just be with at least for me, what I'd want is to connect every capital, right? Chicago, Detroit, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Washington D.C., downtown New York, Miami, Houston, New Orleans, Just every capital city within all these states. And then each state can do like little mini rails. Like somebody could do, I don't know, freaking Los Angeles to San Diego route, or I don't know, Houston to Dallas. Oh, I thought Dallas was over here, not over here. Oh, never mind. It makes, I forget, it makes a triangle. And then you got like Waco in there. But you know, you could do like a Dallas to Waco to Austin. I don't know. There's just so many variations. And another thing with trains too, you could do like very good things with them. Like there's multiple ways that you could do rail, and also it doesn't just have to be within the U.S. either. It can link to Canada's rail system because they're, you know, the I feel like they're more developed than America is in terms of trains at least, and some probably some other things. But we could link to the Canadian rail system, which can lead to more tourism, more business opportunities for the people who own the railways. So then we can get, you know, a freaking, I don't know, Miami to Quebec, Canada, or something. Or I think it would be Florida to Quebec, Canada. I think Quebec is what's it called over there? Do they still have? Do they have states? I don't know. Oh, look right here, freaking Toronto. You do freaking Miami to Toronto route. You know, they can go up the coastline and then they just shotgun over there. Boom, and they're there. But man, we need some freaking type of rail system because we can make such cool and interesting train stations. Like obviously, you know, you could show off your lame state history. Like, oh wow, you guys have Hollywood. Here's a Hollywood movie about trains, or here's a Las Vegas movie about trains, and here's how like the train industry helped your state economy. Wow. And then you can put your state merch. Like I don't know, for freaking Las Vegas, you have an oil rig or just a casino. And then for Texas, you could have like a cowboy hat on top of a train. You do like a Thomas the Tank Engine sort of thing. I don't know. They could do something with it. I think it could be very nice. And unfortunately, it would be over the course of like 50 years. Unfortunately, so I would probably be dead by the time it is created. But it'd be cool to have. I don't know. I'm just so annoyed about it. Oh, this is like kind of pixelated. I don't know. Trying to find like a good one. Kind of. So I'm watching a couple streamers who are in Japan currently, and I think it'd be cool if we had something like their freaking train system. Because apparently they can go underground and not lose internet connection, but they also have like they don't have as much space to really work with, and they've really made it like top notch, where you have like high freaking bit rate internet connection. You don't drop uh connection very often, even though you're like going underground. It's just so good. Why can't we get some of the contractors who did this? Bring them. Well, not really bring them over, but have them teach our rail workers, or persuade our like corporate executives into freaking building this for America. Because in terms of like their states, right? They have like Tokyo and Kyoto, and they have little little cities, little cities to stop at, or little stations to stop at before they hit the next big city for the other region. I mean, you could like very easily do this for like, I don't know, Houston to like Las Vegas, and it just makes everything so much more easier. But another thing that we don't have though compared to Tokyo, those like walkable cities, because we're so we just love cars. I was watching a video. I forget what state though, but basically there's a state that is kind of like up and coming. It's starting out like kind of nice. It's very easy to walk through, low on cars. Like that's like a very good start. But then they have a regulation, not really a regulation, but more of a rule for every uh like store, you have to have a certain amount of parking spaces on the road for people to use. And I don't think that's a very good thing. If anything, it, it's just so hard to do American infrastructure because it's just so busted from the very start. So car oriented. Like I would say that there's like a parking garage, and then it's really just like a bunch of like on foot traffic only. I don't really know. But really, I mean, they just have to get rid of the regulation for parking spaces for each store. That's really it. Like what you get is what you get. If all the spots are filled, well, sucks. You have to go park in like a parking garage or something, and then walk. Like oh no, walking. You have two legs. You gotta walk. Unless you don't have two legs. In that case, that's like really unfortunate. And that's kind of sucks. And you should probably have handicap parking for that. I don't know. Oops. My bad. Anyways, Japan. I don't know. I want to eventually like visit Japan. If I can go through their entire train network, I just want to ride a nice train. And going back to like the whole America thing, you could do a very nice tourism train. Get like a bunch of cars on there. You could buy out a car for like, I don't know like what class this is like aimed at, like middle class or working class. But I don't know. Maybe there's like a you pay, I don't know, nine, maybe like 700, well no, $600 to $1,200, and you can get a nice train car for your family, and it lasts throughout the entire train ride, and it goes through like 5 states maybe. Like I don't know, a train ride from like Los Angeles to Chicago. So that's over like the course of, like a couple days. But again, this has to be cheaper than your flights. So let me search on my phone real quick. Let me see how much is a flight to. Let me see from LAX to Chicago O'Hare. So I'm seeing $71. No, $200. $200 round trip. Hmm. Via plane. Yeah, I mean, there could. I mean, you could do like luxury train rides. I mean, this would be like a luxury train ride. Besides like a high speed rail, you just zoom in there like as fast as you can with train. So I mean, like this is like a luxury. So for the luxury to go to like Chicago O'Hare, and this train's like providing you like an experience of like maybe stopping at a certain train station for a certain amount of time before they like take off again. I don't know. It's not my job to really design it. I'm just shooting out ideas. But you just like you go from Los Angeles, you stop in like Las Vegas for a little bit. But I'm sure somebody would do it. Maybe like a 2 week vacation. You freaking Los Angeles to Chicago and back. Going back, you're obviously like going like really fast on the train. You're kind of like stopping, checking out the local walkable things that you can visit around the train station. And then you move on. You go to Denver, Colorado. Check things out. I think this is Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know what Desmonte is. And then you're in Chicago, Illinois. And I don't know. You can like get off at any point. Your ticket like changes depending on where you want to stop at or your last destination. But you get to visit the other people that are also on the train. I don't know. You get to like socialize a little bit. Maybe you can like drink with the other people in like the alcohol uh cabin of the train. I don't know. Regardless, they could do something cool with it. I think we have the capabilities of making like a nice train system like this. Because I mean, even in freaking Japan, I saw that there's like luxury train cars, and they have like traditions that go with it. And there was like once a dude who would sit outside of the like a luxury train, and he was like friends with like the mascot or something, or friends with the people who ran the train line, and they would stop to greet him and give him something so that he could like maybe one day like ride on the train. And I think he did. He was like somewhere in like Royal Japan. I don't know. And you got Germany. Oh my gosh, this looks terrible though on OBS. Oh, let me upload the OBS. All right, this looks like kind of bad on OBS, so I'm not really gonna look at it too much. Basically, Germany, Berlin, they have little train things to mark tourism. It's cool. Then you got Italy. Italy, I'm planning on next time that I visit there to go from Rome to Florence. Should be listed somewhere up here, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Rome to Florence and a Thai speed rail. Although for them it was like kind of expensive-ish. I think it was like $200 a ticket or something. But to be honest, that's probably cheaper than a flight, to be honest. And it's faster than a flight too. But yeah, you got all that. The high speed. Freaking fat. I don't know why I pulled this one out. That doesn't really tell me too much. I'm not too much of a train person. Well, not that much of a train person. But just like look at that. High speed rail from Saronno all the way up to Torino. Freaking zoom. And then at any point, you can stop and get onto another train line. You can stop here at Orte and go over to freaking Teddy and Aquila. Or you can just go from freaking Milan to Naples here and go to Caserta. There's just so many variations here. And also of course, the freaking train lines are used for freight as well. So, And do that if you want. But man, we just need trains. I just want trains. I don't know. But last but not least, I'm just gonna go over freaking summary time rendering. I think I watched from episode 6. I spoiled myself on episode 11 because I was like really, really getting into it, but then I had to stop because to be honest, summertime rendering is like a freaking a delicious food or dessert that you don't want to eat all at once. You want to slowly freaking savor it because it's really freaking good. So I think I'm just gonna go out of order of what my notes say. So in episode 5, right, you have the introduction of apparently her name is Hane, and then you got like the big shadow dude with like 4 arms who can mimic shotguns or whatever it sees. But basically, when Shinpei gets rescued by freaking Hizuru and goes to the top of the stairs, I didn't notice it at first, but Tokiko is the only one who is not affected by the shadows, who is not attacked. And I don't know why I just glossed over it. Because why would she be spared out of all the other shadows? And that was unfortunately spoiled by me watching like a little bit of episode 11. But it is just so good. Just like I love small details like that you can notice. And if you see it. If you don't, well, oh well. But I just like that. It rewards you for freaking paying attention. And I think that's like one of the greatest things. Yeah, and then you move on. Now, Ushio and Shinpei have met on the festival night, but for whatever reason, it now deviates what happens later on as well. Okay, I think no, never mind. That's skipping that episode. So before that, Shinpei revives again. Uh Hizuru has 2 personalities, which is interesting. It's her brother and her sharing a body. It's kind of unusual. I don't think I've really seen anything else that does that. But I don't know, that's that. She gets like embarrassed whenever Shinpei is talking about their book or her book. I think that's like kind of funny because the dude's kind of making moves right now, or the schmoves. Um, Hizuru killing. Well, Hizuru POV episode was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking that was just going to be Shinpei the entire way through, and to be honest, it would kind of get boring. But I'm glad that they actually decided to deviate from that a little bit and be like, all right, here we're gonna give you another character's POV. Like, I wonder if they're gonna give us like a Mio POV at some point, because I feel like they're teasing it a little bit. Because we got Hizuru or Hizuru, and Hizuru was basically just going through the entire funeral service, discovering that Shiori's entire family are already shadows by the point she gets there. And so she's like, oh no, it's like too late. Shinpei kind of self-reports and says like, oh, look out for shadows. And then the entire family gets sus of him. But other than that, I do like that after I mentioned it, he does indeed get in contact with Ginjiro. And Ginjiro is indeed like one of my Probably my favorites for this show at the moment. And it's good to know that he won't have a shadow because he's already killed it. And it's going to be like really unfortunate at because I'm sure at some point they're probably going to have a shadow kill him. And it's going to be sad to see. I don't know. It's kind of cool. They do have like the whole Alan scene where she puts a toilet under maintenance and then she sits inside there and somehow the other dude like doesn't notice another person getting freaking sledgehammered. Well, somehow Alan doesn't notice while he's on the toilet dropping a fat one that somebody is freaking getting clobbered with a sledgehammer. It would have been like a little bit funny though if he like saw the dent in the ground and was like, "Oh wow, it must have been like really rough for them," and they made like a poop joke. But anyways, you got that. Um, the entire Hizu just like 1v3ing the entire family of Shiori. That was pretty interesting. It was also interesting to learn that they can staple down the shadows, and the only real way you can damage them is by literally hitting the shadow's shadow, which is, I guess, it's an interesting mechanic. I guess. I mean, it's better than just like hitting the body and then having them like regenerating. It's interesting. And it's like, how are they gonna hit like Hane's shadow? Because she was like up in the sky. Like, where are they gonna find that? That'd be interesting later on. But yeah, for that. Um, it was another thing that was interesting too is that I wonder if they're gonna cover it. Have a Shinpei betrayal arc for like 5 episodes. This basically have Shinpei is like, oh my gosh, you know what? I don't like the good guys. I'm gonna turn into a bad guy now. I'm going to find Shadow Mio. I'm gonna find Tokiko, Shiori. I'm gonna ally with them. I think that would be interesting to see. I don't really know what he's gonna do or what he's gonna like try to discover, but mm, I think it would be an interesting plot point for like a little bit for him to try to get like a deeper understanding of the shadows and maybe to understand his own power because he clearly has the power to do something, which I think him talking to, well, first I'm just gonna go a little bit further in the episode and cover it. The freaking Ushio winding up at the house before Mio is supposed to show up late at night. Shadow Mio. That's like kind of interesting. Again, like a little bit of deviation, so it's not the same thing. That's good. Keep it a little bit fresh and interesting. Um, yeah, I'm surprised that I'm not really surprised, but I do like the mechanic of Gendro the sniper being like positioned perfectly at the window and was able to snipe freaking Mio, completely obliterating the upper half of her body with a freaking sniper round. That was freaking cool. And during that time, he was able to. I feel like he was able to convince Mio into betraying the shadow. I feel like because she had a moment where she was. I feel like she was contemplating because I think she was like jealous of Ushio. being like Shinpei's like primary love interest. So I feel like the next time Shinpei dies, which I feel like is gonna be as soon as I get back into it, which is like episode 11, where Tokiko like I don't know does something and he has to reset. I feel like I feel like Mio could probably become a good ally because she kind of knows exactly what the shadow's like trying to accomplish, and having that like day one is like probably like the best thing because then that counters. I mean they've already countered Shiori for the most part, but then she counters any possible chance of her obtaining a gun from Tetsu, the policeman, and also she could force getting shadows out of Shinpei, which I'm surprised that they didn't already do. Like tell Ushio to create a shadow of Shinpei and then destroying that shadow so he cannot have a shadow form of himself wandering around and mess and meddling. That's kind of unusual. But yeah, basically they could just like I mean. I mean, would it really make sense to try to like persuade people into like the shovel shadow things? They don't really believe it. I don't know. I suppose it wouldn't really work. But maybe they could. I mean, they could probably catch him off guard and try to get like a the whole picture of the person, and then kill the shadow that's being created. Or I don't know. Maybe they can create good shadows or something, and their shadows don't count toward. I'd assume it would just be Hein's shadow, who's like the main antagonist. I don't know. Another thing that was interesting too, whenever Shadow Ushio discovered the phone and used her thumb to unlock it, and they went to the video to save Shiori. It was interesting to see. I think, or at least I feel like, there could be the possibility of another deviation right there, where Ushio or Shadow Ushio attempts to counter the other Shiori, because then they'll have two Shadow Ushios interacting, and they could stop the drowning of the other Shiori, and also save the main Ushio or the human Ushio. I don't know, but maybe that'd be like a little bit too fantasy like, where the protagonist like always wins, and there needs to be like some type of loss to keep the show interesting. I don't know. I'm too much of like a bitter loser whenever it comes to shows. Kind of. I kind of prefer like it's kind of like anticlimactic, but I kind of like the main character and the cast to not suffer any losses and to just kind of like straight flat win. I mean, they can suffer like some losses because I mean, this is like you can freaking reincarnate and stuff like that, and go over the same day and have more information about it and had what stuff to avoid. But I don't know. Usually, if you don't have that type of mechanic, I prefer them to like not lose, because then you lose like interesting characters and stuff like that. And I'd prefer not to. But sometimes it does indeed just happen. Like I don't know, some like female character gets sacrificed because she had like a power that she thought she had, but then it was kind of useless. And I think what I'm referring to is Naruto during like I think the Great Ninja War, where what is it? One of the one of the dudes just decided like, oh yeah, I can totally win this, and he just goes in solo, and then you just get absolutely just brutally wrecked. And if we would have just like waited a little bit longer or something, he'd probably get like bailed out. But I think the way that they wrote it though was just like he was like a needed sacrifice. But anyways, stuff like that. I just prefer like no losses, just because I like the characters. It's like one of the main reasons why I can't play a game like RimWorld, where permadeath is a thing. Something like that. Because it's like I invested whatever amount of time to get this character to where they are, to where they could perform a task for my colony in RimWorld, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, they get like severely infected, and because I don't have a certain medicine or I can't buy it because I don't have the technology, that the character dies of like an infection. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call like that fear. Same for amputations too. I'm very much for RimWorld keeping all my characters 100% flesh. I don't know. But another thing in RimWorld too, you can add what's it called? Bionic parts. I think through like one of their DLCs. Yeah, I mean you have that. Other than that rambling, I don't know. It would be cool to see Mio betray the shadows and join Ushio in helping Shinpei, because she has like a she now has acknowledged uh her main her her human connection to Shinpei, or love interest. I don't know. However they define it. It'd be cool to see. But yeah, that's it for this. Talk to you next Sunday. Peace.